Hi everybody, this is Kelly Monahan, and I finally broke through. I was kind of having a breakdown about what am I supposed to blog about. I just recently started blogging using the Empower Network's blogging platform, and I've been stuck. Like, what the hell am I supposed to talk about? I don't know what to share. And I've also been going through a lot of personal stuff. There's just a lot going on in my life, and so some of my issues from my past started coming up. The way that I think, the way that I respond to things, or react to things, I should say. And so I've been dealing with some of my depression issues and my anxiety issues. And then it hit me. Oh yeah, that's what I should talk about. So I just wanted to share a quick little story about how when I was in fourth grade, maybe, I started experiencing anxiety and depression, and that was when I was put on medication. And that was how I was taught and learned how to manage stress and anxiety and depression. That's just what I was told to do. So for several years, I was on and off medication, in and out of therapists, and that was just sort of my story, and it was a huge struggle for me until I was mid-20s, working as a nanny, going to college, and taking a yoga class. And I just had this moment of relief, and I thought, where has this been my whole life? And at that point, I began a yoga practice, and I was able to stop taking all medications, and I have not taken medication in over a decade, and I still deal with issues of depression and anxiety, and it just depends on how good or bad my life is going, how intense the anxiety or depression really gets in certain situations, but, it can be really intense, and it's excruciating for me as an adult. So I just remember what it was like for me as a child, and I think about kids that are probably going through the same thing right now. And I feel very blessed that when I started practicing yoga, it led me to teaching yoga to children. So I'm going to be sharing tips with you about how I learned to manage my depression and anxiety using a yoga practice, and how I've managed to take that experience from my adult yoga practice and translate it over to kid-friendly tips and techniques that you can use with your kids. If you're a yoga teacher, you're going to find a lot of useful nuggets in here. If you're dealing with anxiety and depression, you're not alone. And I have some tools that may be helpful. I really hope that they're helpful for you. And that sort of brings me to here I am blogging and sharing my story with you, because I really was just a few days ago like, what the hell am I supposed to talk about? Like, I don't have anything to say. And someone says, like, just tell your story. You never know who it might be helping. So I hope that these tips and techniques that I'm going to be sharing over the next couple of blogs, I really do hope that they help somebody, and I hope that they help you help somebody. And that's the whole point of doing this blog, is for me to tell my story and just be more of who I am, because I know I have good things to offer people, and I want to share it, and I want to help. So I hope that you find this helpful. So I really could make this 3 hours long, so I'm just going to try and keep it brief, and I'll just start one little nugget at a time and just kind of let it sink in, and tomorrow will be a new little nugget, and then the next day and the next day and the next day. I have so much to share with you, and I really hope that it helps. So I have to introduce you to Yaya. This is my little turtle, and I bring her with me to all my yoga classes, and this one sits next to me on my yoga mat in my room. And basically, Yaya is a nickname for the Niyama Svadhyaya. And if you don't know what that means, you can Google it. But if I can quickly break it down and hopefully not offend anybody by it, it means self-study. And it just, because turtles carry their home with them on their back, anytime they need to go home, they feel the need to be comforted, they can go inside their shells. So oftentimes when everything just seems like it's too much for me, I need to go into my shell and just kind of check in with myself. And I do that in child's pose, which when I'm sharing it with kids, I say, well, why don't we go into our turtle shells? So child's pose just looks a little something like this. You're going to want to sit your hips on your heels. If you have grumpy knees, you can put like a blanket down, or even in between your calves and your thighs, or your quads, whatever you need. So you just start with your hips on your heels. You can open your knees up if you need to make room for a belly, like me. And I just press my hands out in front of me and bring my forehead to my mat. You can also bring your arms down alongside your body, just like that. So that's child's pose. And again, I call it going inside your turtle shell with kids. But it's a place for you to sort of shut out the world for a minute and kind of quietly go inside and just connect with yourself and just find that feeling of like coming home at the end of a long day. I mean, if home is maybe a point of anxiety or depression for some people, then it doesn't always work, but it can. The more you practice yoga, the more you can find that sense of home inside of yourself. It's a place for you to connect with your true self and just kind of let go of what's bothering you and connect with what's within. And I even just get a little emotional thinking about how important that is to do. And it's the first thing I do when I hit my mat, and especially if I'm having a really rough day. It can be hard to go to your yoga practice, but it's like oxygen for me. I have to have it. So some days I literally just drop to my knees and bow down on my yoga mat and just let out a few sobs if I have to, or a couple sighs or screams, whatever you need. You just let it go on your mat. Your mat doesn't judge you. And then you connect with your true self just by breathing, just by being in this pose. And with kids, it can be a little hard to get them to stay inside the shell and really absorb sort of what we're intending for them to experience inside of this pose and inside of their true self. It's a way for them to tune in. If you have a bell, any kind of bell will do. I just have them go inside their turtle shell and listen to the sound of the bell as it disappears. And that's step one. I hope it's something that you find useful. Please share with me any experiences that you may have. Let's talk, let's chat. I'm here to help anybody that I can that may be going through something that they don't want to have to carry around, because sometimes the weight of the world can be kind of heavy. So just stop, let go, go inside. And it makes it a little bit easier when you're ready to come out and face the world again. Your load may not seem as heavy. So yoga can genuinely lighten your load. So I hope that somehow it helps you. And I hope that as I continue to share my story with you and my yoga with you and my yoga for kids with you, YogaMon kids, I hope that you find it useful, and I hope that it heals your heart if that's what you would need from me. And if there's any way that I can be there for anybody that might be going through this, I don't care how old you are. If you need somebody that's going to care about you because you're going through anxiety or depression, I've been there, and you're not alone. So share with me your story. I'll share with you mine. See you next time.